Good morning, everybody around the globe. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to the wellness panel, where I have some amazing women, amazing ladies who are doing amazing things within the industry of health and well-being. My name is Annabel Gold, and I am your host for today. And I am also a health and well-being coach myself. I'm also the editor, the mind editor for the WOTC magazine. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to each lady to introduce themselves. So ladies, please introduce yourselves, what you do, what you currently do, and what your interests are within the health and well-being sector. So we'll start with Maria King. Are you unmuted? Okay, we can't hear you, Maria. I'm not sure if you've muted your mic, but okay, we will go on to the next person just until you maybe sort out the difficulties. Okay, so Mo, can you introduce yourself and what you do and what your interests are?
Hi. Okay, making sure you guys can hear me.
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
Hi, my name is Mo, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Happiness Planner. So we design inspirational planning and journaling tools that help people create a life of happiness.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. And let's go to Grace now.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm the founder of Natural Grace, a sustainable sportswear brand for women that make an impact. Really excited to be here and be talking all things wellness.
Awesome. And next, let's hear from Alexis.
Hi guys, so my name is Dr. Alexis, and I'm currently a senior house officer or junior doctor in geriatric medicine for care of the elderly, and I'm also a children's book illustrator.
It's amazing. And next, let's go to Victoria.
Hi guys, I'm Victoria. I am a GYMGUYZ Kingston franchise owner, and I'm also part of Women of the City as their fitness editor.
Amazing. And now let's go to Dr. Emma.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Emma. I'm a dermatology registrar. I'm also the senior health editor for Women of the City magazine. I'm actually sitting in my car just to ensure that we have good signal, so please allow me apologies.
No, okay, that's fine. We'll allow Maria to come back on and introduce herself when she's able to. Now, ladies, you've explained that you're doing some amazing things. what made you get into that? Now, I know that Mo, you are an amazing writer. Can I call you that? And that you have this amazing planner where, you know, you put a lot of positive quotes and you have a lot of self-help tools and for development of the mind, of just being generally well. And I want you to kind of just let us know how you got into that.
Yeah, so since I was a kid, I've always been passionate about personal development because like my dad's really into it. So growing up with him, I started reading like self-help books from a really young age. Stayed really interested in psychology, and I always thought, you know, one day I want to have an inspiration brand. But at the time, I didn't really know, you know, what that product would be. And about 7 years ago, I started an inspirational blog when like blogging was like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And it started getting a lot of followers. It's like, oh, I love your blog posts and stuff. So I decided to ask them, you know, if I could write about one thing that makes your day, what should I write about? And the majority of people replied and said they want to learn about how to make themselves happier. So that's when I thought, oh, that's a gap in the market. And mind you, this was like seven years ago. So it's like there's a gap in the market for a product that really helps more positive. And I try to come up, you know, with an idea, give birth to the idea of the happiness center. That's
Wow, that is amazing. And are there any other things that you do as well as just I know that the planner is the main thing, but are there any other tools that you have currently that you're doing?
Yeah, so after the planner, we thought, you know, what other products can we come up with? And I thought, you know, happiness is, you know, it's like we humans are complex and you know, different people have different needs and different, you know, upbringing and you know, how what one person needs in order to be happier, it might be different from the other person, you know, besides practicing like gratitude and mindfulness. So that's why we came up with, you know, guided journals, like theme guided journals. I think everyone's gonna receive that as well. So yeah, and so now we have 18 guided journals, and I think in the second year of the business, I thought, oh, you know, this concept that I designed is working. How about I turn this into an app? So now we also have a mobile and a web app that combines like the planning and journaling aspect in one platform.
I personally love journals because I love writing. And so I feel like journals are so therapeutic when it comes to just airing out all your thoughts. So I personally love journals. I can see that Maria is back on. Hi, Maria. If you can now introduce yourself and what you currently do, that would be great. No? I don't think she can hear me. Okay, that's fine. I think we'll move on. So, Grace, you're into doing some amazing sportswear, and something key that I saw is that it's specifically for women who want to have an impact. Now, tell us more about that and how you personally got into sportswear, because I do understand that you're an ex-investment banker. So how did you transition from there into wellness with this amazing women's sportswear brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So the sportswear is all made out of regenerated ocean plastic, but transformed into high performance sportswear. So the ethos is really around creating sustainability without compromise and really empowering the female workout, enabling to make an impact with the clothes they wear, but without actually compromising their experience. And yeah, it was quite a leap from investment banking. Sport has always been quite integral to my life and to my well-being. It's just a big part of the daily routine, to be honest. I had done always a lot of track athletics, but I actually had an accident that saw me having to relearn my balance and being able to run again. And it was kind of during this time, it took about nearly a year to get back to being able to run properly, and nature and sport played a massive role in that kind of recovery process and that healing process. And I really wanted to create something that fused kind of human health and natural health, and so create a brand that not only allowed kind of that sustainability without compromise, but also empowering the female workout and actually having an emphasis beyond just physical well-being, also kind of the mental well-being that you get from working out. So that's how it kind of all came together.
Wow, that is amazing. That's very inspiring, actually, to just see the journey into how you actually entered this, into making such an amazing brand. We'll move on to Dr. Alexis now. So you are a doctor. And what's very interesting about you is that you're very creative as well. And you're into art and, I believe, graphics. So please tell us more about how you got into becoming a doctor and also how you got into the more creative side.
Yeah. So a lot of my journey, has always had art in it. It was always sort of filled with sort of creativity, sort of helping me guide myself at least through life. I started when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I also love science. In fact, I even wanted to be an architect when I was a kid before I wanted to be a doctor. But I chose the more traditional route and in becoming a doctor. And what really brought me into the sort of wellness, well-being, and creativity sort of sector was actually, there was a point where I was, during my training, where I was burnt out. I was depressed. I had to take some time off of work. And what really sort of brought me back, and as Grace was talking about, a sort of healing process, that's what sort of allowed art to sort of take a sort of step forward in my life, because through art, through media, painting, I was able to sort of tell my own story and express things that is really hard for me to write down. Journaling as well. And then, so I started off doing commissions for weddings, for birthdays, and then I got into a project and started doing children's books, illustrations, and then it just sort of went on from there. And so now it's just making sure that I choose projects that always have an element of sort of healing or bringing some well-being. And it's quite interesting because even in sort of children's books, you don't see that a lot. So that's why I really love that sector, and that's how I sort of have the doctor side into the sort of art side, and to merge it together.
I find that amazing, and what I really enjoy is hearing stories where there has been an element of pain at the beginning and how that's now translated into a sort of substance that can be offered out to other people and bring healing to other people. That's just amazing, and that's what I think everybody here is actually here to do. We're called to actually bring some sort of healing of the mind, of the body, of, just health in general to everybody. So that's just amazing. I love it. And it's very interesting that you mentioned about expressing yourself and finding your way of expression, because I think that's so important within wellness, that everybody does find their own way of expressing themselves, whether it be through art. For me personally, writing saved me. Writing really did save me. With all the manner of thoughts that I had in my head, I just had to get it all out. So that's why I really appreciate the happiness planner and what Mo's doing as well. So we're going to move on. Oh, Maria's back. Hi, Maria. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
Hi, Annabel. My name is Maria King, and I'm certified from the Institute for Functional Medicine, and I am a nutritionist. And how it all started, I was working in a very busy corporate world. And actually, if I go back, it actually started when my father, in his early 40s, got what was we understood later to be motor neuron disease. So from an early age, I got interested about health because that was our daily life, you know, just trying to understand what was happening with his body. And I started to read things like, well, magnesium helps to relax the body and all of these things. But I initially started out in the corporate world, and I saw around me, I was acutely aware, including myself, of the huge burden of stress that time poor people had. And that started me on my journey. I was reading about when I was working, you know, in the corporate world, that B vitamins were required to release energy from food. So I went on this journey, qualified ultimately at the Institute for Functional Medicine. And when I come out of that, I really felt, you know, I have so much information. I've been taught by the best people, but I felt I wanted to share my knowledge. You know, I wanted to get my knowledge out and to help people. If I was reflecting back to my 40-year-old father, you know, who didn't have the money or the time to seek other, you know, help outside conventional. So then I set up a business, a food business, and my business is called JUNIUS, and it's because of COVID and the way we've had to navigate COVID. We're now a cold-pressed juice company and newly launched supplement company. We've won many awards in other areas of within the food product, but and what we do is we message. So around the conversation of food, I look to give education out, and COVID has been a fascinating time because what I have clearly seen is people wanting to take ownership of their own health in this period and not be looking at increasingly what is the disease, you know, I am going to get. You know, it's this scenario, the conventional medicine is, well, I will get Alzheimer's, I will get cancer, diabetes, and we get obsessed with that. But what we're really looking at is a shift towards people looking at how can we build our own resilience and take ownership back through lifestyle factors. And that's really what functional medicine does. It looks at the systems within the body and looks at the roots of health rather than looking at the ultimate outcome of where it can go wrong. So that's really what I've been up to, and I share my knowledge through our cold pressed juices and just being online, speaking to people about vitamin D and enhancing the immune system. And the food allows me to get to the people rather than working in a clinic where people are coming maybe for an hour and a half to see me in a one-to-one. I get to broaden that completely. And so that's really it's a very exciting time in health now. People are really looking to just to feed the roots of their health and to find out more. And things like COVID, you know, where is the science around building your immune and your immunity and your resilience? And we look very much, there's a strong correlation between one thing that sort of has annoyed me a bit is that we've had this wonderful opportunity to say, right, with a poor COVID outcome, for instance, you have underlying health issues like diabetes and metabolic syndrome, but why aren't we talking more about what is it we can do to reduce our chances of diabetes, to reduce our chances of cancer? And it's been from a naturopathic or a feeding the roots of your health or functional medicine at the origin of ill health. There hasn't been enough talked about what action we can take to not get something like diabetes and give us a bigger chance of not having a poor COVID outcome. So it's been a fascinating time for all of us in the wellness world.
Oh, Maria, you've said some amazing points there. And I just want to ask you like a couple of questions, actually. What you've said is so right. I feel like in this current times and, you know, within health and wellness, there is so much focus on managing the symptoms and not necessarily looking at the root cause. So it's so powerful, your journey, and it's so powerful what you said as well. And you are a nutritional therapist as well, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a nutritionist. I have a master's in personalized nutrition, and we're all bio-individual. You know, we all have individual needs nutritionally, and what really got me interested in, you know, even within families, we have different. Currently, we look at, you know, one size fits all. You need to do to get this, but actually. Functional medicine looks at everyone being different and having different needs, but there is a huge opportunity now to talk about something like diabetes, the origins of diabetes. You know, we have all these hormones in the body, and hormones are small compounds in the body which have far-reaching effects throughout the body. And all these hormones, so many of them, or the majority of hormones in our body, raise our blood sugar, get us ready for fight or flight. That's survival. But there's one per hormone which removes the sugar from the system. It's called insulin, and basically we fatigue our insulin because, you know, you can dump sugar into your blood just from being stressed and not eating. But anyway, we have a wonderful opportunity, and everyone on the panel we're all on a mission to really get alternative ways of living and taking ownership of your own health into the arena. Sorry, I hope that answered your question.
You've said some powerful things there, Maria. I'm just going to move on. We will come back and we will discuss some more. I'm going to move on to Dr. Emma, who is a dermatologist. So Dr. Emma, please tell us what you do, how you got into it, what your interests are in particular within this industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Annabel. So what I do, basically my day-to-day job is to look after everything to do with skin in the medical sense of the word. So I see patients with a lot of different skin conditions, ranging from your more common things like eczema and psoriasis, and it's usually, you know, the types of conditions where it's become too severe for it to be managed by a family doctor or a GP. People to come and see me in clinic. So like I said, common things like eczema, but also, you know, a lot of rare things that can be very debilitating, like blistering disorders, and, you know, lots of different things in dermatology. It's very, very varied. Apart from that, I am passionate about wellness as a whole. I think a lot of people think of healthcare and wellness as being quite separate, and I'd like to be on a mission to merge them, because there's no health without wellness. So within the Women of the City magazine, I sort of recruit writers, and we do a lot of writing about both health and wellness, which for now I'll have to count as separate, but hopefully in the future we'll think of them more as one. I'm very passionate about everything holistic. Yeah.
Have you finished, Dr. Emma?
Yeah.
Honestly, what you do is amazing. And I would like you to just answer, you know, on the specific things that you do write within the magazine. Just, you know, just give us a few topics that you write about within the magazine, or the wellness team as a whole. Like, what kind of topics are discussed there?
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So health and wellness, it includes everything from what people would count as traditional health. So, you know, talking about different illnesses, different disease, but then of course we have to think holistically. So that's very much going to involve mental health. It's going to involve nutrition. It's going to involve maternal health and fertility, and then a lot about the mind and the way in which we think, because that very much influences our health. And I think we have always known that, but I think a lot of people have been very keen to medicalize things. So people want to know that they have this condition and it can be cured by this medication. But I think as time is moving, especially, I really love what Maria said, because the pandemic really did force people to take more control over their health. What we're seeing, a lot of people are realizing that actually, yes, it's a medical condition, but it is definitely affected by the way I think. It's definitely affected by the amount of stress in my life. It's definitely affected by the things I eat, the things I put into my body, and the habits that I have. So we talk a lot about preventative medicine these days. We need to be focusing a lot on how to prevent people getting these diseases in the first place. And also, yes, I will give you the medication, but you then have to go home and do your part, which is the lifestyle part. So yeah, in terms of the magazine, we write about mental health, normal health, skincare as well, skincare and beauty, nutrition, exercise, fitness, everything really.
Thank you, Dr. Emma. And you've just inspired me to ask a question, which I will ask after we speak to Victoria. But I will put the question out there just so that you can have a think about it. So my question is, what are the blocks? Because now people are being forced to take their wellness, their health into their own hands and to have more of a control. What do you think are the things that stop people or that block people from actually doing that and taking control of their own health? That's just something to think about. Before we answer, let's go to Victoria. Hi, Victoria, please introduce yourself, what you do, and what interests you so much about the industry that you're in.
Hi, everyone. My name's Victoria. I think same as Grace, I've been in fitness or health from a very young age. I started fitness around 9 and I went into track and field for a very long time, up until about maybe 16, 17. And then I left that to move on to bodybuilding and powerlifting. Those were some of the things that were interesting to me. But whilst I was doing that, in that journey, I was in maybe my first or second year of uni. I went into severe depression and anxiety, and in that moment, it's something I've never gone through. I never really understood up until that moment as well. So when I went through it, I remember because of the anxiety, I wouldn't leave my house, and I never used to leave my room, maybe 2 weeks at a time. As depression and anxiety can do that to you, can cause isolation. And I remember exercise being the one thing that will get me out of bed. Now, I was addicted to gym and I wanted to go out, but when I got the depression and anxiety, I will not go to a gym. So I would learn to now train my body at home. And that was something that I wasn't introduced to at that time. Working out at home, modifying my workouts to mimic what I would get in a gym, lifting weights or using equipments that are in the gym, but in a home environment. And it was in that 20 minutes that I would get out of bed and do exercise when I was depressed, that would just help me have a clear mind. And it was in that moment that I was at peace. So the fact that I've now got a franchise called GYMGUYZ, that's originally from America. We're one of the first in the UK, with 2 other franchises also open and that is a mobile gym franchise. So we go to you, we go to your home, we go to your workplace. With the current COVID-19, we are obviously with the restrictions training people outside, but we can still train one-to-one. And that has been very interesting, coming from where I've come from to now own a franchise that comes to you and helps you work out at home. And that came about by me taking some of my young mentees to a franchise show one Saturday morning, and that's where we came across it. But essentially, my love for fitness and health and well-being is why I'm in the business of even owning the franchise. And we've seen just how much of a big impact it's been, especially in the current circumstances. Some people have seen their trainers as the only people they have interaction with outside of their 9 to 5, sitting at a desk, watching TV, waking up and doing the same routine that they've been doing. So it's been a very interesting few years.
Whoa, we have some powerful women on this panel. Again, I just want to reiterate that it's so inspiring and powerful that we have women who are in places of expertise and places of influence based on certain experiences that they have had in the past, and let's just call them negative experiences that have now turned into a positive, and they have now brought an impact to another set of people or another type of audience. So that's just amazing just to hear those stories, and those are the things that really inspire others to not feel discouraged if they do have some sort of negative experiences that that they're going through, because then what we're showing here is that there is hope. You can do something and you can make something out of that experience that you are going through. So that is amazing. So ladies, let's go back to my question. What are the blocks, or what are the things that stop us as humans from, you know, taking ownership for our own health and well-being? What do you think are the things that people push to the side? What are the things that we can do to take better ownership and better control over our health and well-being? I'm going to put that out there, and let's just go to Dr. Alexis to start with.
Hi. I mean, hello. I absolutely love that question, because I think it's, as humans, we are multifaceted, and I think that sort of it has to be multifaceted as well. When you think about the individual person, there's so many layers to even yourself, and then you've got your surroundings, your immediate environment, but the house or the accommodation that you're in. You've also got your street and the community, and then the wider world. So that's how I'm going to try and frame my answer, because I think the barriers that can stop someone from, I guess, taking a sort of critical, maybe not so much of a critical look, but an in-depth look of how they can take ownership of their health. For me, it took a point where I had to reach out to someone to be vulnerable enough to say, actually, I need help. I need guidance. I think one of the barriers that maybe stopped me or slowed me down from that process is just lack of awareness. Maybe lack of awareness of the facilities and the services out there in the first place. I think that's probably one of the major ones. Even with things like social media, with the news and even print media that you see out there, it's about sort of asking that question to yourself: Are you ready to be vulnerable? Are you ready to be like, actually, can I look at my health and say that I'm actually doing a good job enough for my own body? And I think that's probably one barrier. One barrier is just awareness. I think another barrier is just there is still almost a stigma of not maybe reaching out soon enough. For me, it had to be to a sort of breaking point. That's when I started reaching out for help. Maybe if I knew I could just talk to my supervisor, that afternoon or the next, or do you know what I mean? If I could talk to them sooner, maybe I would have made that leap to be like, you know what, my mental health is crashing here. Somebody help me, somebody save me. Because as a doctor, you get taught about mental health. We know all the signs, all the symptoms, and it's out there on the web. But then sometimes it's so difficult to actually see those symptoms within yourself, and it goes right. So when it comes to how you're mentally doing, your food habits, your eating habits, are you taking a step back and saying, wait a second, this is my second packet of biscuits here. Maybe I should stop, or maybe I should try and change something a little bit more. And I think the other barrier can be as well is just who you're around or who you're in communication with. As long as you've got somebody there, and I think that's so difficult right now during COVID. If you have somebody that you can talk to, or somebody you can get to hold you accountable, just someone who can say, actually call in and say, are you doing okay? You said you're going to go for a run, or you're going to do this, or whatever. You had targets and goals. Is there someone there that can actually help you with that? So that's why I love like Women of the City, and you just sort of have that inbuilt community there as a sort of support as well, as much as we make these articles and, you know, the Now Women Summit, it's all about camaraderie and actually bringing together a community, so that you just don't feel alone. I think those are some of the barriers there, that stop people from maybe taking time to really look at their health and just being free and open enough to really venture forth and actually, you know, make improvements in when it comes to as little things as your eating habits, your sleeping habits. So that and that a lot of that's from personal experience as well. It was being able to step out and to reach out, and you sort of feel stopped by maybe cultural barriers, maybe sort of there's a stigma. Ooh, can I reach out? Can I talk to this person? But yeah, I think that's it's. I think there's so many answers to that question.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Alexis. I love what you said about the awareness as well, that there's a lack of awareness. And I think that's why it's so important that we have panels like this or summits like this, where we can actually discuss more about, you know, what this whole health and wellness thing is all about. And especially from the perspective of those that are actually in the industry. And so that's such a powerful answer. I'm going to go to Mo now and let her answer the question too.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it's all about the patterns, right? We all have been living in our patterns for so many years from the day we were born, and how we are. It's all shaped by our upbringing, you know. So if you grow up with parents who didn't care about health and wellness, and you didn't eat healthily, you know, then you kind of adopted the habits. And, you know, I feel like almost everyone knows that they should eat healthy and they should exercise. But when it comes to doing it, I think they'd just rather get the medicine than to try to build that immunity, because it's just really hard for people to try to change a habit that they've been doing for like 30 years. And it's just really a matter of having the willpower and the determination to stick through and to change the habit, and that will take at least like 30 days of forcing yourself to change your lifestyle and to eat healthier. And I think that's just a big problem that people are facing. It's the thing in the subconscious mind. How can you make the new habits and the new lifestyle, you know, go into your subconscious mind and override the old?
I love that answer. I love that completely. It's true. There are so many patterns that we've just become accustomed to living by. And I think the most difficult to do is, one, tell ourselves the truth. And two, to now, when we know the truth, to change. I mean, it is difficult, but it is possible. And so it does take a lot of determination. It takes a lot of focus to be able to even say, okay, I want to change the way I think, or I want to change the way my diet, I want to change the way I live, my lifestyle. So such a powerful answer. I'll go to Grace now.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and I 100% agree. It's a very multifaceted problem. I think something that really I wanted to do with Natural Grace is actually create. I think in the fitness space, particularly, there's some warping of what it is to be healthy, particularly as a woman. Some of the imagery we get bombarded with on social media in the space, and actually, to an extent, there's that fitspiration. But actually, is it motivational or is it demotivational? Because actually, some of those images just simply aren't obtainable. So through Natural Grace, we tried to use models that are females that have jobs, really high profile jobs, that's AI robotics at Amazon or add an asset management and sport as part of their life. So they're not in the gym 24/7. They have a full and busy life. So that's kind of more relatable for most women, I think, as an image of what it is for female health. I think also exercise has been very much aligned with the physical benefits, of which there are many, 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 but actually huge impacts for mental health. And when the goal is just purely on the physical benefits, which can take quite a long time for people to see, I think if people had a more rounded sense of wellness, your mental well-being and your physical well-being, and you might see the positive kind of mental effects much quicker than possibly if you have physical goals in mind with fitness. And actually, if there's a more focus on that, then it might be more motivational. I know if I'm feeling stressed, if I'm anxious and I go for a run and I get that runner's high, completely addicted to the endorphins, I feel a lot better and I can get back on with my day. And yeah, I think it's just reframing some of the context around particularly female wellness. I can only really speak for that, but yeah, I think there's quite a lot of work to be done there, and I hope Natural Grace will go in some way to have a positive impact on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a powerful answer. I'll go straight to Dr. Emma to answer now.
Thanks. I love everything that's been said already. I think another aspect that I would introduce is actually just knowledge and understanding. I think a lot of people sort of, maybe they feel they're unable to, or maybe they feel they don't have the capacity to, but I think a lot of people don't understand their health and the things in which they affect them. So an example I'll give is that anytime I diagnose a patient with any condition, even if it's something that I think they should know something about, like eczema, I'll go online and I'll print off a sheet for them, because I've only been sitting with them for maybe 10, 15 or 20 minutes, but I give them a sheet and I say, read this when you get home and digest what I've told you, so you understand what this condition is, because otherwise you end up sort of putting labels on people with no understanding, and then it just becomes something that they carry but don't know how to overcome. But a lot of times people just say, oh, I don't know, doctor, and say, oh, I'm not a doctor. It's like, yes, you may not be a doctor, but you have to be your own doctor at least. You have to understand yourself. So I definitely think knowledge, information, understanding is a really big barrier. Thank God for the internet. So it's much better than it was probably, this time 50 years ago, but definitely I think more knowledge. That's why I love the panel that I do for the magazine that asked Dr. Emma. I'm literally just giving information, and I love it. And I think that's definitely one thing that the world would benefit from more accessible health information that they understand and know how to apply.
Amazing. Thank you for that answer. And I just want to add that there is a lot of knowledge out there, but I think what we need is more truthful knowledge, right? Because everybody can give knowledge, but we need to hear more from those who are in the industry. We need us to be talking more, to be giving more information, more knowledge from what they've learned, not just in studying, but in our daily experiences, because we work with people in our various fields, in our various expertise. So there's so much that we have to offer, but I don't want to do too much talking. I'll go next to Victoria.
I think what everyone said is exactly what I would also say. I would echo what Grace said in terms of what social media shows. I think when we talk about wellness and even your mental well-being, and we think about what feeds you, even what you're feeding yourself, we can talk about it physically, what you're feeding yourself in terms of what you're eating, your habits, but also what you're allowing yourself to see. I think one of the difficult things that I realized when I was going through what I was going through is I allowed myself to see so many things that were not really helping me. At the time when I went through depression, I was doing the Instagram influencer. I had people send me things. I had to keep up an image. But at that time when I was going through things, I would post something and I'm writing I'm writing something and I'm writing a paragraph, but I know I'm in a terrible state. And I think when I realized that, okay, I need to change what I'm doing, is when I've got younger females now, messaging me because of what I've decided to put out, but I know I'm not in the right place. I'm thinking, okay, what I'm now going to feed you with with the words I'm saying is not going to help you at all. I need to fix what's inside before I'm able to even post things that are encouraging, etc., and posting pictures that might not be the best for somebody else. Because when we look at social media, again, as Grace said, some of the body goals that you're seeing, it's just a picture that's taken in the moment. Like, I was someone that did it. You're in the moment, you've just worked out, you've got a pump, and your body can look like that in that picture for maybe that 10 seconds, but you're not walking around with 6 abs or your muscles tense the whole day. You look normal. And I think what will stop people from taking that step is because they're looking at something and they're thinking, but I don't look like that. Okay, I've done my jog and I've done my run for a month. I still don't look like that. So one thing I would say is do things also that you enjoy. I'm trying to get all my family to work out in my house, and not all of them like just metal like me. I like metal, gym, just lifting weights, very repetitive. I don't really mind, but I realize not all of them like that. So sometimes we can spend 2 hours just doing dance. We'll do dances. Sometimes we'll just do things that are active, but it doesn't look like exercising, or it doesn't look like I'm actively trying so hard to be fit. But in that enjoyment and that fun, we are still keeping fit. We're still doing things as a family. And that's a big thing we've seen in GYMGUYZ when we're coming to work out with people. So many people in the past few months, especially, have wanted to work out with their family, with their kids, because they're saying this is the only time actually we get a chance to do something. So what Dr. Alexis said, have an accountability partner. If you know that you can't do it sometimes, even if they're not with you, someone that just calls you and says, you can do this. It's 12 o'clock. You said you were going to jog yesterday. Have you done it? If you live in a household with people, do things together as a family. I think one of the things that also helped with me with my depression at the time was when I was trying to come out and I had people helping me, was just being in the present of people who are doing things that are fun. You don't have to speak. You don't have to be vocal. You don't have to do too much. But just be in that, sit in that, be around it. If your family are downstairs, they're having fun, playing games, come downstairs, do that. Because one thing, what your wellness and mental health will do with you, again, is isolate you and make you feel like you can't be a part of things. Be a part of things, enjoy yourself, have fun. That's one thing I would say. I think we've made fitness so rigid and health so one way, and it looks just like boxed into one shape, but it really doesn't need to be like that. You can have fun with it.
That is powerful. Wellness can be flexible and fun. It's not just rigid. It's not in a box. You know, there are different ways that we can better our health and our wellness. And I can also testify to the role of people when it comes to, you know, the goals that we have. You know, just going on a jog with 3 of my sisters the other day was so powerful for me because it had been a while, but it really encouraged me and it helped, and I felt so amazing afterwards. So you're completely right, Victoria. But let's go to Maria now to answer the question too.
Everyone's points have been incredible, and barriers, that's an interesting one, because before I set up JUNIUS and founded JUNIUS, I did a lot of health focus groups. So I invited people to just do general and chats, anonymous chats about what they wanted, you know, because I wasn't sure I was going to move into the cold pressed juice business and supplements with JUNIUS. I was thinking I might set up a clinic. I was unsure because I hadn't been in that industry before. But one thing that really came out of the health focus groups were when I was asking people, what is it you want from food? Of course, everyone said, I want food with benefits. But what really came through was they wanted to get away from conflict. One day something is good for you and the next day it isn't. So that was commercialism, basically. The power of adverts and the power of buying into being targeted for, you know, at a commercial level was bringing conflict to people's minds. So they just didn't know where to turn, you know. So that's why what I did before I got into the food, I thought, well, let's look at the science behind the food and let's start with science and build recipes. So that then took out that big layer of conflict, that science first and production after. So commercialism is the barrier, I believe, that we are targeted so much. And there's a lovely piece of science, the identical twin trials, where identical twins, if they are, I'm also a nutrigenetic counsellor. So what I understand from that is that we have a big, it's a very powerful thing to say, oh, I have this gene, or your genes dictate your future. But what we do know from the identical twin trials coming out now, that if identical twins are separated at birth, one twin can live a very long life, absent of chronic lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer, and the other twin can get those chronic lifestyle diseases early in life. So what we then know is health is very dynamic. We have an incredible opportunity. And I think that that's my message overall, is that the body is very clever. The body is very, very powerful, and we have choice. And by looking at feeding the roots of your health, going back and asking what, you said, for instance, COVID, a big link with low vitamin D levels, for instance, and also diabetes and metabolic disorder, obesity. So to me, it's that pill for an ill. We're in a scenario where we say, I need to take this, not to get this. And we need to think more broadly about health now and look at hydration, relationships in your life. Of course, food is the cornerstone, because all our hormones and enzymes are protein. So we need to take that protein in through what we eat. So a great question, an amazing panel today. But barriers to me are the power of commercialism. And once we shift that and take the power back and ownership back, it's a huge arena of what we can dip into for better outcome. And one thing I would say is, with the rise of, I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old, so I'm very aware of challenges faced particularly by young people. And in that group, there's a big rise in mental health illnesses. But what we also want to say is that a lot of the serotonin that is the happy in the body is made in the digestive tract. And we have a society which subscribes antibiotics, and we have to be aware that whenever we unbalance that microbiome, the outcome can be far-reaching. For instance, in your mood and mental health outcome. So it's very dense, but there's a lot we can do, which is really positive. I feel so positive about where we are now, and are things getting worse, or are they getting unveiled? And I feel that we're unveiling the power now of stepping back and saying, let's feed the roots of our own health. Let's take a little bit of ownership back and get the good stuff in and sleep well. There's a lot of going to be a lot of information now coming out about sleep and how that is just a metabolic detoxifier to sleep well and to put like a washing machine through your brain effectively to flush out, and that's what sleep does if you get it at the right time, if you're sleeping the good hours when it's important for healing and rebalancing the body. So, but yeah, it's great to be on this panel discussing all of this.
That's amazing. Maria says, get the good stuff in. And I love that comment, because that could be food and that could be words too, right? So many powerful answers. I'm just a bit mindful of time. We've actually got about 10 minutes, ladies. So my last question is, what is the future for wellness? What does the future look like to you? And in the light of the pandemic and everything that we've gone through as a nation globally, what is next? What is next? But I want us to keep the answers as brief as possible, because then afterwards we're going to go to the audience and see what the comments are there as well. So I'm going to give everybody about 30 seconds. Okay, let's start with Grace.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Wellness has really come to the fore in the last kind of year with the pandemic. I think it's going to be a lot more of a holistic approach to wellness, looking at people as the complete, from their physical health to their mental health. And I think, it's only going to expand. It's going to only expand.
Perfect. Let's go to Dr. Emma.
I think definitely holistic, as Grace has said, as we've been speaking about. I think the other two things I would mention are technology. So using technology a lot more. Everyone has an active watch, an iWatch or whatever, which actually, just remind you, move, what exercise have you done, that kind of thing. And the other word I would say is personalization, in that everyone should actually know what works for them, and we're becoming more and more in tune with how different people are, so that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. People should have tailored recommendations for themselves.
Sorry, ladies, I'm just going to pick two more of you because we've got to go to the audience. So, Mo, let's hear from you.
Yeah, well, I think what's next one is that our generation, we're going to stop or significantly reduce generational trauma as our generation, our children. And I think that's next.
Perfect. And then lastly, let's go to Dr. Alexis.
I think it's just going to be, I agree with all the answers there, but I also think it's going to be more integrated. I think it's going to be more person-centered, more personalized, and it's going to integrate a lot of systems just like our own human body. I think that's what wellness is going to look like in the future.
Perfect. Let's now see what the audience are saying, or if there's any questions from there. Health is holistic, everybody. Health is holistic. That is our quote from this panel today. Okay, thank you for promoting health and well-being, ladies. How do you incorporate digital wellness into your daily practices to balance screen time? Oh, amazing question. Who wants to go first? Let's go to Victoria.
Well, I think that's a perfect question for GYMGUYZ Kingston, because we're the company that comes to you to take you away from screen time. We are working especially close to a lot of corporate companies in terms of providing them with health and fitness in the middle of their day. We're happy to come on your lunch break and give you that time away from working out. But also, essentially, we're making packages that we're giving people where you can do workouts, 15 minutes exercise away from your desk. So if you've spending maybe 7-6 hours, some people spend on their desk a day, just that 15 minutes on your lunch break, or on your a little break in the morning or in the evening when you finish, away from your desk, something that you can do that also focuses on mobility, because what we found is that people are sitting down and going straight to bed, or they go from their desk to a sofa to bed every single day. So our exercises are now being more tailored into helping with your mobility, and hopefully that helps with your well-being and also your ability to do your day-to-day life, run your day-to-day life.
Perfect. I hope that answers the lady's question. Should we have another answer, or is there another question? Should we? Okay, so, all right. I have a friend who has bipolar disorder. Does exercise help too? So, Grace, should we go to you on this one?
So I don't think I could answer specifically knowing that exercise helps. But I would say that in terms of broader kind of mental well-being, I think massively. I think it's known to relieve stress, help with anxiety, and in particular, if you can actually get outside as well and get in nature, also shown to have really beneficial effects for your cognitive function and just your overall well-being.
Perfect. Ladies, thank you so much. We've now come to the end of our session. It's been a pleasure, honestly, speaking to everybody here. I feel like 1 hour is not enough time for wellness at all. However, we have had some candid comments from all of our experts. And my takeaway in a nutshell is health is holistic. I mean, do we agree with that? Health is holistic. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I've been your host, Annabel Gold, health and wellbeing coach, and also an editor for the WOTC magazine. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.